Wow, that's a lot of questions.
Oh, well,
All right. While Graham makes a cocktail, good evening, everyone.
Oh, my mic's not even on.
And as we traditionally do start these things, can someone just confirm that you can hear us? Please.
Or if you need us to be lewder.
I mean, you won't be able to hear Graham because he's not actually put a microphone on.
All they're hearing is like my mic smashing against things.
In answer to that last question, if you can hear me over the cocktail shaker, that's an outfit from a stage play I was in quite a long time ago, which Graham found online and without my permission used as the thumbnail for this live stream. And if you're interested, that's a wig.
But if you go back into the Dark Corners archives, you can see his hair in all of its lengthy glory.
Yeah. I have had hair that long, but
cheers.
Where's my drink?
Oh, sorry.
No, I've got it. I did get it. I just don't know what I've done with it.
Cool.
Right. Good evening, everyone.
Good
I'm assuming
evening.
you can hear us because no one said you can't.
Yes. Okay. Ooh, cocktails. Hello, Dark Corners. Did you look at any of these questions first?
Yeah, most of them seem to be about what genre Hitchcock films fall into.
Okay, and
which I think is thriller. That was me done.
The Michael Jackson song.
Yep. They're all from the Michael Jackson song.
It does look like a pantomime outfit.
Yes, well, no, it looks like Sergeant Pepper is what it looks like, which is what it was meant to look like, because that was a production of As You Like It that was set in the 1960s, and I was playing Touchstone. Is that As You Like It? I get the comedies confused. I'm pretty sure it's As You Like It.
Oh, yeah, to get As You Like It and 12th Night confused.
Yes.
That's okay. Non-consensual thumbnail. Graham doing God's work. How about a drink, Mr. Torrance, Bucky, Vincent Price connection? Did you answer my Orwellian question?
What was it?
It was, is Orwellian horror a real genre?
I wouldn't say it was a genre, no. Personally.
Yeah.
You're going to disagree? Or
No, I've got nothing.
Speaking of Orwellian horror, we've been looking at 1984 recently, or we will be.
Yes. So for the next special, we've got.
Yeah, we won't tell you what the special is, but we'll say that 1984 is involved.
Oh.
Or do you want to say what it is? Because that would be better promotion. Oh, all right then. I didn't think we had.
Oh. Well, we definitely said it on Patreon.
That Patreon is special.
Yes.
So if you want to know what the next special is, join us on Patreon.
If you want to know when it is, your guess is as good as mine.
Yes. That's still speculative.
So what else has been going on?
Thank you to everyone who has watched our special about Witchfinder General and the films of Michael Reeves. And for the rest of you, give it a watch. I know it's not every horror fan's favorite, but it's a great film and it's a really interesting story behind the making of it.
Yes. Stevie Cole says, did my eyes deceive me, or did I just see you in a production of My Fair Lady?
Yeah, that's correct. How
you don't know who Stevie Cole is then?
No.
Wow. But yes, you are correct.
And I'm Stevie Cole.
Yep.
Stevie Cole.
They loved it.
Well, I hope that's not somebody who I actually know. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was not playing a large role in that, but it was a good show.
Good. Yes.
The principles were excellent.
Any other thoughts on Witchfinder General?
I've got. I think that it was really interesting one to analyze and to learn more about, because it's a film that's remembered for. It's one of those ones where its reputation sort of gets in the way of the film to some degree, because it's that film where Vincent Price really didn't get along with the director, and it's that film that really ran afoul of the censors, and which in some ways led to the sort of the exploitation boom, or I mean, it didn't lead to it, but the success of Witchfinder General led to other more exploitation-y films. And I think sometimes that gets in the way of what is just a quality film. And of course, the fate of Michael Reeves as well really overshadows the film. And all these things mean that you don't always look at the film itself, which is great. It's a wonderful piece of filmmaking.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's very disturbing, but it's a film with a really solid reason to be disturbing. and for all the censorship battles they had. And I think the censors mostly agreed, but didn't think that they could really move on this stuff. They really did. The violence that is in there is everything's for a reason. Everything's for a purpose.
Well, what struck me when I was editing it, but I'd like go, right, let's make the version we would most like to make first, and then we worry about what YouTube's going to say afterwards. And I think initially, before you even started, when you first doing it, I don't know that we can put this on YouTube because of how much is in there. But it's actually, it's very similar to Texas Chainsaw Massacre in that there isn't anything super specific that you could lose. It's just that
it's not gory.
It's just that ongoing tone.
Yeah.
And the screaming goes on.
Screaming is a really big thing. Did I tell you, one of the things the censors came back with was when the girl is burned alive, they said there was too much screaming. And Michael Reeves wrote back and said, what do you think she should do? Which was quite a reasonable objection. Of course she's screaming. But people in movies, even today to some extent, certainly back then, people are very capable of shrugging off things like bullet wounds and stab wounds and being burnt. They don't scream like you actually would. And so you have a false impression of suffering, of pain, and Reeves wanted to strip that away and show that these things have consequences, real world consequences. And that's something Witchfinder General has that exploitation films don't have, that most films still don't have. I
meant to say it when we were doing a detractors commentary for one of the films we're shooting tomorrow, where they put someone in the oven to cook. But it's to get rid of a corpse.
Yeah, that's different.
Thanksgiving, which wasn't a great film, but I went to go and see that, the horror film. One of the characters there gets put in an oven. And the idea of it is, when they're conscious, is literally so horrible that they can't, I think they realized that they couldn't stay on there. So you never really got it. But the idea that every surface you touch is scalding and you cannot get away. And it was like, oh my God, this is like, this to cook somebody alive like that is fucking horrific. But I just got the sense, oh no, this is because the only thing you could do is scream and like bang, and every time you bang on something, you're going to be burning your hands more. You move, you're going to burn a different part.
Let's change the subject.
So I'm all the idea of like screaming and stuff to show it is very good. Right,
we've slipped way behind in the questions on that because we were talking about stuff. But
science advisory is in the house. That's
hooray! There you go.
Thing everyone wants to know.
Science advisor in the house. Hello, science advisor, and I know that Mrs. Science Advisor is there as well.
Have you seen Wes Craven's Serpents in the Rainbow?
Yes.
And what's your thoughts? Another kind of zombie movie?
Yeah, I quite like it. It's not one of my favorite films. I think perhaps it's a better. I think maybe there's a better film in there than the one they managed to get out. It's another thing, as we were just talking about with Witchfinder General, to some extent it's overshadowed. And in that case, it's overshadowed by that moment in it, which if you've seen the film, you will know what I'm talking about, particularly if you're a man.
Did we ever talk about the newly found Cleopatra footage?
We did for our Patreon supporters. I think it's what, 15 seconds of footage?
Yeah. Really good footage.
Very little, but such great footage. The existing, what had existed from Cleopatra before almost looked like makeup tests. It was just Clara Bow in her costumes, just flouncing around. There was nothing. And now, although there's only 15 seconds, there's these extraordinary shots of the Roman legion coming into Alexandria, and it gives you some idea of the scope of it. And you see some of the other actors involved. You see some proper drama going on in that 15 seconds. Just makes you wish that there was more of it, and maybe there still is.
I mean, just even like when you see the production photographs from it.
Oh yeah,
where you can see all these amazing costumes that Theda Bara, had that. Yeah, it's had like an incredible scope, and
it's a big film for Universal because they were not a big outfit at the time.
It's probably a bigger loss than London After Midnight.
Probably,
yeah. In fact, like I feel that would actually deliver on the promise where we feel that London After Midnight may not.
Well, I think that the footage from this shows that there is perhaps a more spectacular film out there than even film historians had suspected. Because I don't know how many production pictures are left showing that. The scale of it is more than all the pictures tend to focus on her, and to actually see some of the stuff that was going on around you think, wow, this was an epic.
Yeah. And really nicely shot as well.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
It looks good.
Do you have any directors in mind for your own films or your own work? Who would you like to direct your work?
I'll take anyone I can get. If I was cherry picking,
Michael J. Murphy, you're looking for a new script.
He's dead. If we're talking about living directors, you're just sort of like, what directors do I admire for stuff? I suppose it would depend on the thing. I think Guillermo del Toro would do a great job with my Universal Library books. I'll have him. I'm a big fan of John Carney, Taika Waititi. I think that'd be a nice, because there's edges of comedy to a lot of what I do.
As long as you can rein him in.
Yeah. I think Taika Waititi should sort of like say, this is the limit of your budget. You shouldn't go higher than this, because his best films are stuff like I'm going to forget the name of it now.
Wilder People.
Hunt for the Wilder People. Love it.
Okay. What's your favourite Stanley Kubrick movie?
Oh, gosh. Probably one of the early ones. I was really taken with The Killing when I rewatched it recently. Maybe I'll go with that. Lolita, I think, is a very, very good film. I think before he's given a bit too much rein. I mean, I love stuff like The Shining and so on, but I think sometimes he can be a bit self-indulgent.
I think I'm not sure how much of it's nostalgia, but Spartacus. I really just enjoy that.
It's a really good. Clockwork Orange, of course.
Oh yeah, Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. It's a really impressive film in so many ways. I don't know if it's an enjoyable watch.
Yeah,
but
I have the uncut DVD from the early 2000s. Quality varies, but brutality still has an impact. I presume that's on Witchfinder General. They have just announced they're doing a 4K release of it, and it looks to actually be quite a really nice package. So I will probably pick that up.
I think early 2000s, because the censor footage, as I understand it, was only put back in 2008. So you might have a shorter version than is now available.
Did you ever watch the So Bad It's Good Dutch horror movie Intense Care starring George Kennedy? No. Horrible bad acting and English dubbed Dutch actors. 1990. That's just into the era. So we haven't done much post 90s, so that's probably why it's not.
We're doing more and more.
Yeah.
But okay, one to look out for.
I've not seen Godzilla -1. It has not opened here in the UK yet, but I do have tickets to see it in the IMAX, and I'm looking forward to it. I've tried to stay spoiler free.
Okay.
Not watch trailers or anything. So I'm more excited.
Could be less interested.
This is the Japan one.
Yeah.
Because I saw the trailer for Godzilla X Kong, and that looked like a hot pile of garbage.
What they're doing with the sort of the MonsterVerse thing is, I find utterly pointless and boring. But to each their own.
Yes.
Other opinions are available and equally valid.
Will you finish off the low-budget MCU and review Dolph Lundgren's Punisher and David Hasselhoff's Nick Fury?
Ooh.
Yes.
I think we probably will with time. Yeah, I can see that happening.
I have a feeling we've still got one of these Spider-Man movies to do.
Yeah. I don't know if we're in a desperate hurry. They don't do very well. We'll wait for there to be another Spider-Man film and we'll do it then.
I have a feeling there's another Marvel one that I looked at.
I mean, there's other Hulk TV movies.
Yeah, I think it might be a Hulk Daredevil crossover one or something like that.
Well, that might be relatively interesting.
Worth doing when the new Daredevil series lands. I think that's because I have a feeling there's another one that we haven't done. But yeah, so probably. When's the Jack Pierce special coming, guys? Never.
I don't know about never. I
Oh,
think that-
do you know what? I was thinking of someone completely different. I was thinking
right.
of Jack Palance.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, stuff like this is always on our to-do list, but the to-do list is so long and our time is so short. If you'd like us to do stuff like this, then please support us on Patreon, because it
Yes.
really, genuinely, it is a money issue that we both have to work.
Well, where or how did you learn video editing? Mainly self-taught. I got a friend, Ben Brownlee. If you go onto the Boris FX YouTube channel, he does a lot of the live feeds on there. So he taught me a lot of the basics and helped me figure stuff out. And whenever you see like a special effect in one of our reviews, it's usually Ben who's done it. So he did the unveiling of the Invisible Man in the Invisible Man review, where you take off
That
the
was
bandages.
good. That was great. That was great.
He did when you wrote Mausoleum.
I like that one.
He changed the note in the Spider one.
That was fantastic. Really.
So
I'm just saying how good they are.
Yeah. So
yeah, that was a really good one.
Any sort of effects bits like that.
The giant spider one was almost too real. I was worried people might think that was just from the film.
That's the thing. He's very good at what he does. He works for Boris FX, who basically make the software that all the big effects houses use for rotoscoping and planar tracking and all that kind of stuff. So I've got a very good guru who is a genuinely excellent person.
Well, I think to say, please hit the like button while you're watching. It apparently does us some good.
Yeah, and so I did it self-taught, but I go to him. And YouTube's also really useful if you need to figure out how to do something.
YouTube's good for specific problems.
Yeah.
I find I do a bit of editing myself. I'm not anywhere near Graham's level, but you can usually problem solve on there relatively easily.
Yeah. Have you seen the film Time Crimes? I've heard of it. I've not seen it. So
is that like 80s or 90s?
Favorite,
Maybe I haven't.
Favorite cold weather horror?
Cold weather horror.
The Thing.
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course. Shall I say one different just for the sake of it? I'll go with the Abominable Snowman then. That's not so much cold. Well, they're up in the mountains, so it's a locational cold weather. I watched Kurosawa's Desu Uzala recently for the first time for a thing we've done on Patreon, and that I've never seen a film in which the cold is so fucking palpable that you can really feel cold watching it.
There's a thing. I used to listen to a lot more directors' commentaries on DVDs when there wasn't quite such a variety of everything to watch that there were, and there were so many films that came after Titanic where they had smoke that they were, like breath.
Oh right.
And it was all, and in all the commentary, it was leftover breath from Titanic that was commented. Have we thought about reviewing zero-budget movies that are genuinely good, like Detour or She's Got to Have It? If we know about it, then yes.
We've been talking for a while about doing not like a separate series or anything, but maybe like top 10 good low-budget movies or something like that, good B movies. But it's always, it's a bit, it's there, it's on the to-do list.
We're also talking about just how much top 10 is utter bollocks.
Our top 10s are certainly not top 10s.
Yeah, it's just like, here's 10 things, but the top 10 is a watchable thing for someone. But I think we try
to put what we think is the best one at the top, but basically it's just an excuse to talk about stuff and to try and tell a story. When we did the Vincent Price one, it was very, very easy because there aren't actually that many Vincent Price horror films, and a chronological layout works pretty well. And then the top 3. The Peter Cushing one, I've given it away now, was a nightmare because the story you want to tell is backwards in a way that you really, Cushing's life before he became a horror star is interesting and is the stuff that people don't know about. So it's just we're always trying to tell a story with this stuff and making that work through a top 10 rather than just going, here is a cool film, is what we want to do. Frustratingly, I think plain top 10s usually do better. But although the Price one's done very well.
Yeah.
That
Thoughts,
wasn't an answer to your question in any
thoughts
way.
on Neil Breen as a director?
We will never review another Neil Breen film. I mean, credit to him for doing something. I don't know. It's
not just doing something, doing everything. He writes
Yeah.
it, directs it, films it, stars in it.
I think
for someone who's got no talent for any of those
Yeah.
things.
I'd sort of respect him a lot more if he didn't seem to think that it was all so good, and if he didn't sort of perpetuate this idea that he is being locked out by the establishment.
Yes, Red Letter Media, I think it was there. They did Neil Breen released a DVD course of how to make films.
Wow, that's ballsy.
And they had got it, and they were reviewing it, and even just the camera shot he had, like for when he was just talking to the camera, he was like just weirdly framed at the bottom with like this much headspace above him. This is like, just everything in it was terrible.
I'd like to believe that Neil Breen is a performance artist whose whole life, his whole career, is just going to sort of like the year before his death, he's going to reveal that this was all an art project. None of it was meant to be any good. It's hard to believe anyone can be that bad without it being intentional.
There's because obviously he keeps making stuff.
Yeah.
But who was the guy who did Birdemic? That the cast came,
James Guyan?
Nguyen, I think it's.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yeah. When that he some of the cast came back and did like sequels.
Yeah.
But they still he still had to do his thing. He couldn't. He still apparently really believed in what he was doing, even though the cast the first time they didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Second time in, they knew what they were getting into. But you have to wonder, how do people react to this sort of criticism of you making the worst movie of all time?
Yeah.
Same with the Room guy.
Tommy Wiseau.
That he sort of retroactively went, oh no, The Room, it's meant to be a comedy.
Yeah. Bullshit.
And he's fully embraced it, and he comes to London and he does and hosts screenings at
See, that's annoying too. It's sort of annoying that he's doing well. That he's doing well out of it, which is, I know that's the wrong attitude, but it just sort of like you think, oh well, Ed Wood never got that chance.
That's it. What's your favorite post-apocalyptic dystopian movie we've reviewed for regular Dark Corners?
There
was a stage.
It's funny how there are absolutely none in my. The favorite one to review. There was one that was it. God, they all just blend into one.
I was going, Lou Ferrigno was in some.
All I can think of now is 2020 Texas Gladiators, purely because we just reviewed a Joe D'Amato, or we're about to shoot a Joe D'Amato review tomorrow. But that was not the one I was trying to think of. There was the one with the guy on the talking motorbike, and I don't remember what this was now.
Yes,
and that one is, I mean, I hated it, but it was funny for us. It worked out well for us, so I'll go with that one.
Yeah. Would you ever be interested in doing a comparison of Werewolf of London and the Wolfman? Sorry, we've kind of done that already.
We've certainly covered those films. I think. I don't think it's fair to do a comparison. They're not really similar films, to be honest. They have completely different philosophies of what a werewolf is. Mm-hmm. Werewolf of London is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. Any thoughts? This one for you. Any thoughts on the edited down and colorized version of the Daleks?
Okay, I should caveat it by saying I haven't seen the edited and colorized version of the Daleks because I've no interest in seeing it. I just don't see why you would do that. I don't understand. I've just embarked on what will probably be a 5-10 year project to just casually rewatch all of the Doctor Who and watch for the first time some of them because they're all on iPlayer now. So I've been watching the Daleks. And there's nothing wrong with the original. I don't know why you would do that. I don't understand I don't understand why stuff gets colorized. I don't understand why you would cut stuff out that served a purpose. I don't get it. No. But I haven't watched it.
Okay. Is there a talky horror film you think would work better as a silent film?
Tristan and Isolde, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a. I don't know.
Very specific question.
It's a very specific question.
I have to give it to you there.
There are there's lots of films where you think this could make a good silent film, I suppose. It's so tempting to just say any remake of Nosferatu, because you know that makes a better silent film. I can't think of anything specific, but you can definitely see how stuff we mentioned. All I ever think of in these things is whatever was mentioned last. I've got a really short-term brain that way.
So are you thinking the Thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
I think that would, because of the tension of it, and most of the dialogue is explanatory stuff that isn't, or is character-y stuff.
Yeah.
Character stuff can be expressed very well physically. You don't necessarily need the lines. And the tension of the silences remains. I think that could work quite well.
Yeah. Do you ever hear? I don't think you did, because we've not talked about it. Vincent Price and the Horror of the English Blood Beast. It was a BBC radio drama about the making of Witchfinder General.
No.
It sounds like it'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, I wish I'd known about it a few months ago. But
yes, no, you find out like extra information.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, Vincent Price gave a lot of interviews about Witchfinder, and they were certainly quoted extensively in the biography of Michael Reeves I read. Mm-hmm. And there is a certain, you're only getting one side of the story with it, of course. And Price was very generous about Reeves as a talent, certainly, but he did, in some degree, retrofit his opinion of him to fit what happened to Reeves.
Someone's written the mathematical formula for the perfect horror movie.
Wow.
I don't necessarily know what it means, but I believe you. I was pleasantly surprised by your review of Kubrick's The Killing. Are you a fan of film noir?
Yes. Yeah, I love film noir.
Because we toyed with that being the Patreon thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I decided to do Kurosawa because I wanted to. And to be honest, it's not been a very popular one. I think I might finish it a little early this year. But next year's will be Corman. So I think people like that. But no, I love film noir. There was, back when I was living closer to London, the Cinema Museum had a season of rarely seen film noirs that was presented by someone who was doing a PhD or something in film noir, who was tremendously knowledgeable, and he presented all of them, and that was fantastic. You saw some really interesting films. DOA is an interesting one.
Will we ever review Toho's Dogora, the space monster? Probably.
Sounds like one we'll get.
Yes, thank you. If you do join us on Patreon, lots of stuff there.
Loads.
Not as much as they used to be.
Not as much as they used to be, but we'll get it back up bit by bit.
Bit by bit.
More than enough to be going on with. There's new videos every week.
Yeah.
2 new videos every week.
Yes.
Exclusive.
Did you see the recent David Fincher movie, The Killer? Like, that was when you sent that to me. I went, man, your timing could have been a bit better with this. Because that's why I pushed it back a week, because like The Killer had literally just gone on to Netflix.
Oh, right. Oh.
I haven't seen it yet. I did want to see it in the cinema, and I just didn't get the opportunity. So now I will catch it on Netflix. Best Christmas themed horror. Mine is Rare Exports. Ours is most likely Gremlins.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Although I was chatting.
I was about to say Rare Exports.
I've
forgotten Gremlins.
I was chatting to somebody last week because they asked me what the best Christmas film was, and I was like, just the first one came into my mind was Die Hard. I'm like, oh no, Gremlins. And she looked at me blank.
Never heard of Gremlins?
Never heard of Gremlins. Like, just have not entered.
We're old.
Yeah.
Happens.
Just not even, it's not even entered the zeitgeist as somebody born in 1990.
That's amazing to me, because it's weird how stuff like Ghostbusters has remained, and I mean, Ghostbusters is great as well, but I would put those films together immediately, and Gremlins hasn't lasted in quite the same. I think I prefer Gremlins 2, if I'm honest. I just enjoy it more. But
have you seen the cartoon series
of Gremlins?
Yeah, no. They just so recently. It was kind of interesting. It's set the annoying thing is, so it's like a prequel to Gremlins, and it's kind of the origins of Gizmo.
Right, I'm
and
bored already.
The stupid thing of it is his name is Guillermo.
But
I know.
But Billy gave him the name.
Well, no, his dad did.
Oh, was it his dad?
Yes.
Okay, well, whatever.
But it's given to him by his dad because his dad's an inventor of gizmos. Like that's where the name. So the idea that Gizmo's proper name is Gizmo is stupid, and it just was not needed.
The need to give everything an origin film just because we got no original ideas of our own is starting to piss me off. Have you seen the trailers for Wonka? My God, that looks awful.
Yes, and it's still sort of tapping into, it's not even its own thing because it's still tapping into like the theme tunes from the original Willy Wonka. That it, don't like it. Ted V. Mickles' debut was surprisingly good. No, we've not reviewed a Ted V. Mickles in a while.
No, we were going to do like, is it?
I don't know, something
10 Angry Women or
something.
something.
It's going to be something with a bunch of women in it. Cash on Demand is a Christmas reg.
Yes, that is a Christmas film, isn't it? You remember that one?
Yes, yeah, Peter Cushing one.
Yeah, that's lovely because it does have a sort of I didn't mention it in the review because I think it gives stuff away, but it does have a sort of Christmas Carol feel to it.
Tom Johnson is busy working on his D&D campaign.
Okay.
So name a monster after Robin. People talk about Neil Breen. That's how far behind we are in these comments.
Sorry, we always get behind on the comments, but we figure you just like to hear us chat.
Yes.
We're not quite sure why, but apparently you do. You think we talk ourselves out of a lot of followers?
Yeah. Did we ever review Cyborg? We have.
Have we?
Yes.
Which one was that?
Well, I'm sure we've reviewed a film with Cyborg in the title.
Okay.
Cyborg 2049, the one that's kind of a precursor to Terminator.
Oh, well, that narrows it down. We've done many of those.
He goes back in time to fight.
Oh, right, yeah. With Michael Rennie.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We've done that one, for sure.
That one. I don't know.
I'm not sure that's the one he's talking about, if I'm honest. But it'll probably take us about 10 minutes to find out which one you are talking about. Sorry.
What is the scariest horror film of AI to finish a sentence? I don't know what that of Al. Of all time.
Of all time. Oh. It depends what scares you. Horror film is too personal. It's stuff that taps into your personal terrors. So I think it's different for every person. I don't think there's any such thing.
I think the one that sort of in my adult life that sort of left me the most unsettled is Eden Lake.
Okay.
Because I hate chavs. And I feel that they could just do mental shit.
I found the Babadook because I lived alone at the time. And that was one of those ones where I watched the film and then sort of turn off the light to go to bed, and I'll be damned if there wasn't something above me on the ceiling. And it's that sort of thing. When anything that has a phone call like that, where there's in the Babadook, it does that voice down the phone. That's terrifying because then I'm not comfortable answering the phone. A friend of mine who loves horror film played her brother played a hideous joke on her, basically recreating a horror film for her when she was alone at home one night. And I did have to say, if you ever do anything like that to me, we are done as friends. That's it. I will never forgive you because that will live with me forever.
Favorite scary scene in a otherwise bad movie?
Oh, bloody hell. It's an extraordinarily specific
Just trying to think of
question.
the last few films we did.
Yeah, what have we done?
What have we done?
Stitches. I like the paper dolls in Stitches. I'm not saying that's a favourite anything though. I don't know.
I do.
Anything with Peter
I
Cushing.
wonder if some Paul Naschy has some
Yeah, oh,
interesting
yeah,
things if
yeah.
you watched
Lots
it,
of really.
because I don't think I've actually watched a Paul Naschy film on the TV. I've only watched it while I've been editing them.
Right.
So maybe maybe there's something in a Paul Naschy film. Yes. Andreas wants to know if we have seen Journey to Uranus.
No.
And I believe that was a joke.
Mm.
With these, it just reminds me of the other films we were looking at today. Dog Lay Afternoon.
Yeah, classic. We're not reviewing it.
Not well. Set the rules for reviewing Dog Lay Afternoon. Will it be Matt?
Stop making references that mean nothing to anybody on here and read the damn questions.
You're literally going to have to be a Patreon member for 6 years straight before you learn about Dog Lay Afternoon. What do you think of Doctor Who today? Terrible political correctness now? Question mark.
No.
It's not terrible. It seems like in some areas it seems to be slightly overcompensating, but
I don't think it's overcompensating.
I think there's always been an element in sci-fi of
Doctor Who is created by the only woman working at that level in the BBC at the time and directed by an Indian man who was the only Indian man working at that level at the time. It has always had these preoccupations. If you're only noticing them now, then that's just because you don't notice this stuff when you're a kid.
Yeah.
It's the same it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more explicit in what it's addressing now, but that's because it needs to be, because people insist on fighting against everything. As long as the stories are good.
Yeah.
And certainly last Saturday's was good. The one before that I thought was good, with some stuff that I don't like it when he makes the Doctor a bit more magic. I always think that Russell T Davies thinks the Doctor is a wizard, and I think the Doctor is a scientist. For me, the Doctor is a scientist, he can't do magic.
Right.
And Russell T Davies, when he can't come up with a conclusion to a story, he employs magic.
Right.
And that pisses me off.
Will we ever do a special on George A. Romero's The Crazies?
I doubt we'll ever do a special on it. Yeah. I wonder if George A. Romero will, if we do something more generic, more general on George A. Romero.
Yeah. Have you seen The Crazies?
No.
It's a good film. It got remade again. I don't know, 10. I'm gonna say 10.
Yeah, we did both posters for our.
And then I'm going to find out it was actually like 20.
I think it was 20 years ago. We covered both posters for one of our countdowns that we used to do in the days when they paid money.
But he's like, yeah, George A. Romero is very good at sort of the bleak ending. They basically I'm going to ruin the end of The Crazies. George A. Romero once been out for a long time. The scientist finds the cure, and then people are sort of just raiding the hospital, and it drops and smashes on the floor, and he gets trampled. And so it never goes out there. But it's good because in essence, the Crazy is kind of like a zombie-ish virus that makes people act more akin to 28 Days Later. Not quite as wild, but certainly sort of aggressive. So he sort of created these aggressive zombies in that film. It's a long time since I watched it, though. What's your favourite Ken Russell film?
If the ones I've seen, and I haven't seen all of them, Lair of the White Worm.
Mm-hmm.
I can't make it through The Devils. I know it's a good film, but I can't quite make it through.
Hello, gentlemen. Will you ever have a video showing off your DVDs and Blu-rays? No, it's not that impressive.
Yeah, we stream stuff these days.
Yeah, a lot of stuff streaming.
I'd rather do one about my books.
So probably not. Have you seen the Furiosa trailer?
No, I haven't yet.
I was disappointed. It just seemed to.
I was really optimistic about it.
I was as well, but it seems to have just pulled all of the visuals from Fury Road and just ramped up the color saturation even more. It just doesn't look like its own original thing. It looks like a almost like a fan film, like a high budget fan. Like it's like, I don't know, sort of similar how the new Star Wars films just like suckered in all of the stuff that people liked from the original trilogy and just slapped it in there. And same with this. It doesn't, there's like a whole world to create, and it looks like they've just given us the same thing.
Oh well,
that's
it. Might, it might turn out. Maybe that's just the trailer. Sometimes, sometimes trailers are not indicative.
The original Fury Road trailer was garbage.
Right.
I'm going to whiz all the way down to Ravenhouse Mystery to see what he has to say for giving us $10 dues, which we thank you. Have you seen Massacre at Central High?
No.
That was, but
that's what $10 buys you.
A one-word answer. But we will seek that out. But message us, because I'll lose this.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments we can't keep track. We really can't.
I should have my girlfriend upstairs should be like taking notes of all the films that are.
You should definitely employ her as a secretary.
Yes. If that's okay, girlfriend upstairs, stamp on the floor twice. Let's find out what she says.
I guess it wasn't okay.
I'm assuming there's a time lag. Super grateful for the Kurosawa run. So this is the...
Oh, somebody liked it.
This is the Patreon exclusive series, which you get for a mere $1 a month. Every week, Robin talks about a Kurosawa film. We've got some of the backlog to get up.
I should say there aren't 52 Kurosawa films, so I've put in other contemporary Japanese films of the time.
Body Snatchers is fairly noir. Still love Gremlins sequel. Gremlins 2.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yes. Cool. What company is this? The 6 Ultra Brothers v Monster Army films. I've not heard.
I wouldn't have thought so. It doesn't sound like something we're going to get.
It's kind of like Toho. It's
okay, maybe
my guess.
Maybe then.
How of all things is Gremlins not a thing to pass the generational gap? I think it's just because since Gremlins 2, there's not. I know that I'd said about this cartoon, but it seems to be very low key, and it's just fallen out of consciousness for people.
I wonder if it's because usually these things sort of like go on and you think, oh, I'd like to see more like that, and it jumps the shark eventually, or it does something to it. And Gremlins 2 rewrote the first film so much. It was so different that there was really nowhere left for anywhere to go with it. I doubt that's what Joe Dante was intending, but he has sort of finished. He sort of answered any questions there might be.
The real questions: French toast, pancakes, or waffles? 3 things you can't have.
Yep. You can get gluten-free pancakes. I can have a pancake.
I think
You can probably get gluten-free all of those.
I did make French toast recently, and I wasn't that blown away by it. I've not made it in ages, but I do make pancakes quite often. So
I used to love waffles.
Bird's eye potato.
I presumably
waffles.
still would, but they're
waffly versatile. You can have those.
But I can't. I'm not allowed to eat them anymore.
Albert Pyun movie. When you finally get to it.
Which one?
I don't know. I think there was a comment beforehand.
Oh dear.
But I don't see it. Small number of characters in isolating setting with the lights off.
Was that the cyborg one?
Oh yes. Oh, then yes.
The Albert Pyun one we did with the cyborg was Nemesis, which we did do.
Yeah.
There may well be one called Cyborg as well. Albert Pyun made a lot of films, as I remember.
Yeah.
We'll certainly do another of his at some point.
Yes,
we like him. Nemesis was surprisingly entertaining.
Bring on the Jerry Warren special. Do we ever review John Russo's Night of the Living Dead, the 25th anniversary edition with...
Well, no. You'd have to read the rest of it. We haven't...
Because there was... I know they came back and they reshot some of the original Night of the Living Dead and added extra scenes in, and it had the same guy in it. And then there was the remake of Night of the Living Dead, which I thought was directed by Tom Savini for some reason, but it might not have been.
I don't know. I didn't think so, but
yeah, but the color version of it, and I
Right.
remember what I enjoyed it when I watched it 35 years ago. I might have jumped around a little bit, and I don't know where we're at. Cyborg 2087.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so we were talking about the right one. How about that? I think the odds against that were extraordinary.
I've noticed that your streaming reviews are roughly half the length of your bad movie reviews. Is there just more to say about bad movies?
Well, the bad movie ones are sort of padded out by jokes. Plus, I don't mind spoilers in the bad movie reviews. I try to avoid them in the good movie reviews. And you don't want to show. I don't want to show too much. We just want to say enough that people are enthused about the film and that they will maybe seek it out. I think that's generally the feeling with the streaming reviews. They're films that they're films we like. We'll take a chance on a few.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice if people go and seek them out and you don't want to show too much.
Yeah, and the idea of that format came during COVID.
Yeah, when people couldn't get to the cinema, so we were trying to promote stuff that you could find online.
Yeah, and it was meant to be something that we could just do a bit quicker.
Yeah,
put together a bit faster than a regular review. So the regular reviews are obviously far more thought gone into the scripting and the editing, and then we have to shoot it.
Yeah.
And everything that entails with that. While with the streaming reviews, they're just a bit faster to put together. So originally when we started, we were doing 2 a week.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah. We no longer are.
So
it was a good way to kick it off.
Yeah. So there's like the quality of the videos. They all have like different sort of, in terms of how much time we need to spend on each one.
Yeah.
So that's one level. The reviews are another level. These specials obviously take
several levels
much longer. And then if you're a Patreon member, you get like the Kubrick one, which is more of just a straight train of thought. There's no editing in it at all. And
Kurosawa, he means.
Yeah. And the Detractors commentaries, where we talk about whatever film we've reviewed that week. And
in a very rambling and discursive fashion.
Yeah, but it still has a little bit of editing in there. Like I'll trim it all out.
Take out all of the rambling and
take out all the rambling, all the times the microphone battery runs out.
No, that's an essential part of the comedy.
Okay. What I should really do is give you a question and then find out where I'm at.
Yeah.
Have you seen any sci-fi film noirs beyond The Amazing Transparent Man?
Sci-fi film, well, Blade Runner, and its sequel, which I also very much enjoyed. One of perhaps the only of those very belated sequels that I did really enjoy. Other than that, I'm sure there are others. I'm trying to think of any that I specifically. There's a lot. It's something that people often do and put these things together. I can't think of anything specific. I'm sure others will throw ideas out. But
Brian is still willing to give Wonka a chance because of the director Paul King, who had done the 2 Paddington films.
I mean, that's a hell of a pedigree, because the first movie shouldn't have succeeded, and when I said, and it's wonderful, and when I saw they were doing a sequel, I just thought, no, you will never recreate that level of heartfeltness, and actually the sequel is even better.
Some more Christmas films in the comments here. Wake in Fright.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which we've reviewed.
Yes.
Jaws the Revenge,
and of course
which we've also reviewed.
Yep. Jaws the Revenge is a great Christmas film. Michael Caine having the time of his life. Retired now, again.
Have you seen Alastair Sims' version of Scrooge 1951?
I watch it every year.
Do you?
Yes. It's absolutely
I've seen
brilliant.
it, because I used it for, I was editing a music video for a band, and I used that as they just did like a silent night, and I used it. And actually it's cinematography, and it's really nice.
Yeah, and another absolutely a really key argument against colorizing.
Yes.
The black and white version is beautiful. The colorized thing looked god awful. But yeah, I love that film. Love it.
Does Curse of the Cat People count as a Christmas film?
I suppose it does. Well, actually, no. Now I say that because it doesn't take place at Christmas. Christmas it finishes at Christmas,
Right.
but it's not Christmas all the way through. Maybe I could go either way. I guess. I mean, why not?
Favorite comedy shorts team group such as the Three Stooges, Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, Our Gang, etc.
I'm currently reading a biography of Laurel and Hardy, so I will go with Laurel and Hardy.
Do you know what? I only briefly sort of looked at that, and I hadn't looked at it closely, and I thought it said Starling.
It said, yeah, it's one of those that I'm rereading it. I'm reading it now, partly for research purposes, but also just out of interest. And it does make me think I should go and rewatch some of these films because viewers know I love my silent films, and I've seen a lot of their silent shorts relatively recently. But it's a long time since I watched the features. Very long time.
Did you like the recent movie?
Oh yes, with Steve Coogan and John C. Yeah, it got it right. Absolutely, it was beautiful, very moving. I found.
Okay, this one very specific. Favorite thing in life ever?
Family.
Food.
Tough break for Graham's family and his girlfriend upstairs, who still hasn't stamped.
It's because she didn't stamp. She's gone like 3 steps down in my estimation. Makes me wonder if she's even watching. She says she does. I've not seen her comment.
I wouldn't blame her for not bothering. This isn't.
I'll still be met by utter silence. All I'm asking for is her to stamp on the ceiling. Okay.
I can't even remember why we were asking that.
It was.
You're trying to hire her as a secretary. No wonder she hasn't stamped on the ceiling.
I wasn't going to hire her.
Oh right, yeah, just get her to do it for free.
Yeah, it's going to do it for free. You should review the creepiest adaptations of A Christmas Carol for Christmas sometime. Worst adaptation of Christmas Carol?
I mean, the worst one I've seen is the Jim Carrey one, which Robert Zemeckis did. The sort of animated,
like hyper, uncanny valley.
Yeah, horrible.
Personal horror. How about House in 1977? We've reviewed that.
We have reviewed.
It's
great.
Yeah, bizarre.
It's
mad. Yes, we have reviewed that. I think you might have to search for it under House,
maybe,
which is the English title. I probably have it in tags that it's also Husu, but yeah. Do you have any films which are not bad enough to review? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens a lot where they're not good enough to review for streaming, not bad enough to review for.
Yeah, and there are some that are actually too bad.
Yes.
Mostly boring.
Yeah.
It's hard to make a boring film funny.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least when it's nothing but boring. There are plenty of boring films we have reviewed, or films that we just did Tristan and Isolde. Although whether or not that was a good review is anybody's guess.
Oh, apparently it wasn't a joke. Journey to Uranus was the original title of Journey to the Seventh Planet from the Netherlands.
Okay.
Twilight Zone is the same thing, but I don't know what that refers to. The Science Advisor says Scariest film, The Haunting, 1963 version.
Very good film.
There's a recommendation there from the Science Advisor.
Is that Robert Wise?
Confirming ghosts exist.
No.
Yes, it is.
Is it? Oh, okay.
So that was I wanted.
Yes, it is.
I wanted to see that recently because the Picture House were doing did a horror season.
I'd like to see that on the big screen.
They had really The Haunting, Demons, Crimson Peak, and something else. I managed to get down to see Crimson Peak.
Oh, it's not Guillermo del Toro's best for my money.
But I hadn't seen it before, so
it
was nice to see.
It looks great because it's Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, it didn't quite come together.
No, there's a lot of good bits.
Yeah,
the really creepy bit with the ghost wife. Was it the wife?
Yes,
that was really creepy, but it didn't fit in with the rest of the film at all.
Yeah. I've answered that one. That's what killed my Doctor Who watching. That's seeing him fall 500 feet through glass ceiling and stand up like he'd stubbed his foot. Just about, I guess, about him being magic.
Oh, right.
And sort of being able to survive things that you shouldn't be able to. What do you think of Black Death with Sean Bean?
I've not seen that.
Okay. Have you seen Spulues? Why is so many Dutch films getting recommended today?
I don't know. Maybe this is a good time for Dutch viewers, but no.
Favorite contemporary horror actor? Is there such a thing?
Contemporary horror actor.
A horror actress, I would put it is
Mia Goth.
Mia Goth.
Well, let's say that then, Mia Goth.
And I also think General Ortega seems to be sort of slipping into that. No doubt is going to appear in like every Tim Burton film as he replaces another actress who has aged out for him.
When she's coming to Tim Burton late in the day, then he doesn't seem to be making good movies anymore.
Yeah. I have a feeling she might be cast in the Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I have faith in George Miller. I
hope Furiosa is such a great character. She deserves a good spin-off.
Yeah. Well, it's a prequel. So it's like, it's no doubt going to be the origin of how she lost her arm and how she shaved her head. Some money. How she, stuff like that.
I do hope they don't do that and make it that simplistic.
But also it seems like the origin, the sort of character of her in Fury Road is how she's a really sort of loyal servant to what's his name, Joe, the guy with the face mask.
I can't say I know the name. And you're going to tell us why?
But that's it. But a prequel of just her being like, playing this long con with him, where you don't have the out of Fury Road, which is kind of the climax of this. Like you get
it will be a real problem because we know where a lot of sequels have the problem that we know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and there's no jeopardy.
And it doesn't.
If she's got two arms at the start, she won't have two arms by the end, but she will still be alive. These things going in.
And it doesn't seem that they're giving her like a wholly new story. It's basically like, well, the story that this is what we're going to tell you, rather than like a completely different story that happened to take place before.
Well, I don't want to judge it before. You got to judge these things based on the film, and trailers can mislead you. Look at Slumdog Millionaire. It's a great film, but it's not a romantic comedy.
Let's see if this doesn't solve it. Once use of girlfriend as dark corners, Miss Moneypenny. If that isn't, my girlfriend doesn't want to be dark corners, Miss Moneypenny. It's very upsetting.
Fair enough.
Okay. If Santa could bring you any film remastered, restored that's not currently available in a decent version, what would you choose? I'm going to say it can't be a Lost film.
Oh, what? I have my answer already. Oh no. The Burning Earth.
Tell me more.
It's an F.W. Murnau film. It's meant. I've got two versions of this film. I got them from an individual because I don't think it has any commercial release at all. And one of them, the English language version, it's a silent film, so the one with English titles is missing about 15 minutes. It's an edited version, and it's kind of ropey, but it has English titles. The version that looks better and has the full film has French titles. So he gave me both for the price of one. But I would like to see a properly restored version of that because it looks great, but it badly needs restoring.
Well, that's on that. It's worth having a little chat again, which we did for Patreon, was about someone has kind of come forward heavily hinting that Lost Doctor Who episodes are in the hands of private collectors who won't come forward because they don't want to face.
They're afraid of prosecution.
They're afraid of prosecution.
This is my Doctor Who expert, Johnny, who is a Dark Corners fan. There's a very limited chance he's watching, but if you are, hi Johnny. He says this is relatively common knowledge around the forums that these episodes do exist. and they definitely do. It's just that sometimes collectors like to keep things to themselves. Other times, the BBC can be a bit weird about this stuff, and accommodations have to be reached.
Yeah,
but
it's certainly occasionally you sort of hear something of like London After Midnight being in a private collection somewhere.
Yeah,
and it does seem likely.
It certainly seems possible. With that one, I would think that was worth so much money now that I would have thought someone would come forward. I mean,
well, especially
this, I suppose, is the question: does that belong to the collector, or is this a case of them returning it to the studio that made it?
Because in what sense is it worth money in that London After Midnight is now out of copyright?
Yeah, if you have the only copy of it in the world and you say,
but the moment anybody,
but
that's it. The moment anybody puts that out, anybody can take it and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you put it out there. I'm saying you maybe, I don't know, maybe sell it back to the studio. I don't know.
But that's it. Like, it almost feels like it's other than.
I don't think that's how collectors think about it.
I know. That's
what makes me think that maybe it is out there. That I think if a collector, depends on the mentality of the collector, but there are certainly collectors whom I have met who, if they had something like that, would just keep it to themselves and never would let anyone else see it, just for the pleasure of knowing that they had it and no one else did.
Yeah.
I don't know. These things do turn up. I think it has to, at this point. I think it probably has to be in private hands to have survived. There are very few. I mean, I suppose Cleopatra argues against that, but the odds of stuff surviving outside of a proper environment,
well, I think
slim.
But that was a private.
Oh, it was.
It was basically the guy bought it off eBay. It was just like, it was
unbelievable.
It was like this sort of like mini reel, and you just bought it.
This is how this stuff happens.
Just bought it on the off chance that it was something interesting, and it ended up being Lost Scenes of Cleopatra. It's like a complete luck.
It happens.
But
I'm going to grab a drink, so you keep talking.
All right. So
find a question and answer it.
If I find a question, I'll lose it. Gentlemen, go get your thing.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I think we should start a petition for Dark Corners to show off their DVD Blu-ray collection.
Really not that impressive.
It's really not that impressive. I think there's a lot of stuff that I'd rather people didn't see was in my collection. It's not the massive horror archives of terrible films that you think it is. We get a lot of stuff from streaming, unless we need to get a good version of it. And then even if I've bought the DVDs of it, they don't stay on my shelf because I'm never going to really watch them again. They sit in a box upstairs somewhere. So
I'd be far more happy giving it a guided tour of my books.
Yeah. I should. This is a good question. Do you have any advice for a filmmaker on how to make a low budget film that isn't crap?
Do you?
Your script don't cost anything.
Yeah.
So
bad script costs the same as a good script.
Yeah.
That's something Ben Hecht said.
So
he said it about writers, but
yeah. So really start off on the script. I would certainly consider doing shorter films first in order to learn your craft in an economical fashion.
Yeah. Get good actors.
Good actors. Yeah. Surround yourself with the best people.
Yes. Which is,
it's a tough one because you're also saying yes on a low budget.
But again, depending on the level you're working at, the highest priced actors are not necessarily the best actors. It is worth shopping around. You have, if there's like a writers group near you, for a script writers group that uses actors, then get to know people, get to know actors, because you'll be looking. There are great amateur actors out there, people who are struggling and who like to act, who like to do this stuff. And as long as you treat them decently and
feed them well,
feed them, water them, pay for their travel and stuff, then some of them are very happy to do this sort of thing because it's interesting to them. This is their passion. They enjoy it.
Yeah.
I personally lean really, really heavily into cast the right people and everything, and if you've got a good script and good people, then and you record the sound properly,
sounds
sound is way more important than picture. You can almost get away with a rough looking picture. You can never get away with rough sound.
Yeah, so if you've got to pay for somebody, probably a sound person is a good shout. The other thing is there's like the whole cost, time, quality pyramid. Like if you want to save on money, then you're looking at time and yeah. If you want to keep the quality, you're just going to have to spend more time doing it if you don't want to spend the money. And so factor that into it. And so that might be, if you can't pay people, what can you do for them? So if you've got like actors, can you edit their show reel for them in order for them to, like give something back? So rather than always just taking, which I think a lot of some filmmakers would do, is just like, well, these people want to give me their stuff for free, but give them something else back in return. If it's somebody, generally speaking, you're a sound person, you're gonna have to pay for, because they're not going to do it for free. But actors, there's a lot of them, and you probably can get them to do it for free, but to make sure you give them something back, get them that footage for their show reel that much faster, so they've got something to show for it.
It is about the people that you get, and if you treat people with respect, do not think that anybody can hold a boom mic. Do not think that as long anybody can read these lines, they've all got their own talent, and you need to respect that and show that to them.
So especially at the beginning, like find the people that you work well with, and make sure that you're just giving back to them as much as they're doing for you. So if somebody helps on your project, you help on their project, whatever that may be, even if on their project you're making their sandwiches or whatever they need. So, and that way you should get like a nice sort of symbiotic relationship with other people, where it's not just a take thing.
And seriously, the food thing, it's a weird thing, but if you go on one of these shoots and the person organizing it has taken the trouble to put out a spread, and last short film, this is just an example, last film shoot I did, then I stuck out an email to everyone to make sure I had everybody's dietary requirements, so you could have sort of like stuff that was it turned out virtually everybody on that shoot had a different dietary requirement. It was unbelievably bad luck.
So maybe check that before you cast them.
But it is worth doing, because people feel like they are being treated well, and when people are like that, then they're happier, and a happier set moves quicker, and there's just a good feeling about it.
And again, like food doesn't have to cost loads. Like the expensive way to do it would be to, even if you think it's easier, to order pizza in for everybody, and that's like a fairly cheap thing. But pizza's also kind of stodgy and makes people lethargic. I found I would cook up a couple of chickens, and I'd make a hummus, and I'd have like dips and things like that, and then basically a big sandwich buffet where everyone could just make really nice fresh sandwiches with like good quality chicken, not wafer thin garbage, and that still just cost a fraction of what it would have cost me to go to
pizzas for everyone.
Or
someone won't be able to
or
eat
going
it.
to a sandwich shop and buying buying sandwiches and things like that. Also, if you've got a girlfriend, you can usually vote them in to doing things for free as well. So,
but everything starts with the script
and then food. So that was a good one. Have you seen Meatball Machine?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
You should do a triple review of Blackula Blackenstein and the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I'll tell you what, after Tristan and Issel, it's going to be a while before I do another triple review, but we have already done Blackula.
No, we've still got Scream.
Although we could probably cover that.
We could do
again.
Scream, Blackula, Scream.
Yeah, I looked at that recently for something. I don't
do you
remember
think we will get Gremlins 3? Almost certainly. Nothing ever dies when
everything 80s is being reinvented at the moment.
Money. And I'd be interested to see what it did. Again, if you listen to Red Letter Media's commentary tracks, they do a commentary track on Gremlins, and they have a really funny pitch for a Gremlins 3.
Okay.
That I think would be really funny and would never get made, but it's really funny hearing them talk about it. Best part of that commentary track. Will you ever review Hell House?
Possibly.
Possibly.
There's a lot of films.
Night of the Living Dead remake was directed by Savini. Yeah.
Holy shit, we're about half an hour behind. We ain't got much longer.
Yakai Monsters, we've reviewed one of those films.
Yeah, I think we've reviewed the second.
Yeah, so we may get around to the other two. I'd love to see you do a special on Chang-Chi martial arts films.
We don't do very well with martial arts films.
I've looked at because there's been like a couple of really good box sets for the Shaw Brothers films. And I thought, I'm like, all right, shall I get it? Shall I? And I've been on the cusp a few times and I've not pulled the trigger.
They just don't do well for us for whatever reason.
I think it's just slightly out of the genre, even though Chinese Hercules is one of my favorite gags where the punching sound.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It's just like one of those really beautiful discoveries. There's a general consensus on Gremlins being good. Couple of people thinking it's aged poorly. Do you think it's truly possible to not notice if someone's hiding in the back of your car? Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah,
so
I
don't look in the back of the car. So yeah, I'm fine with that. One of the guy hiding in the back of the car ones I like is in Let Me In, the American remake of Let the Right One In, and it's all done in one shot where the car goes upside down, and that's pretty cool. What is the background from a bad movie review that is just it's very specific? What is the background from a bad movie reviews? Is it just a stock photo? Oh, the background. It's
where Graham works sometimes.
What?
It's Ugly Duck.
Oh, yes. I was thinking of the thumbnails. Yes, yes. If it's the thumbnails, it's just a stock photo. If it's the behind him in the views, it's a place where I work called Ugly Duck in near London Bridge. So you can go on there and you can find Ugly Duck online and you can see it.
It's an incredible location for us.
Yes. And its days are gradually getting numbered. Currently, it's got a dinner theatre show in there it's like a 70s themed ski chalet. So the garage is basically an outside ski resort that's like all covered in snow and snow coming down. Then you come into the hub, which is like the chalet, and then you go up to the top floor for a dinner theatre show with cabaret and stuff. It looks incredible. But that's why we can't do anything there until that comes out in January.
I can see that.
So, Strange Days, is that a film noir? It's a long time since I've seen that one. I think it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of noir from my.
You can say that.
My memory.
Sci-fi
Any
noir.
interest in a Ghibli retrospective?
I don't think so. I really love certainly the Miyazaki films and some of I'm going to forget his name, the other guys as well. But it's not quite our wheelhouse from Dark Corner's point of view.
Favorite non-gore horror film? As if suggesting a gore horror film would be your favorite.
Yeah. Bride of Frankenstein. The only question I answer consistently.
I came in. I've just joined Patreon. Oh, welcome.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome.
I do hope you think it's worthwhile.
As soon as you join
This
Patreon,
was hours ago, by the way.
As soon as you join Patreon, you do get an exclusive review.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it was now. Oh,
Dark
yes,
Corners.
I do. It was Dark Corners.
Yes.
There is a film called Dark Corners, which is not where we got the name from.
No.
We wish we'd chosen a different name now, but it's, 13 years, it's too late.
And also, just as a reminder, if you didn't know, if you've ever bought a T-shirt or any merchandise, if you send us a photo of it, either through Facebook, Twitter, or
Any
email,
channel, yeah.
We will send you an exclusive review there as well that we've done just for people who have bought merchandise. So there's ways to get reviews.
No other way of getting it.
No other ways of getting it. That's probably one of the easiest Well, the cheapest one is just join Patreon for a single month. That will cost you $1.
Yeah.
And it will get you.
You'll get your review, then you could
get your
quit,
review,
theoretically.
you can quit.
But you'd lose all the other brilliant bonus content.
Then you can buy a sticker from TeePublic, and we'll also send you a bonus review, which is completely separate. So there you go.
But the longer you are a member of Patreon, every year you are a member of Patreon, you will get another bonus review.
Yes.
So we're going to shoot one tomorrow, but you will have to wait 6 years to see it if you join today.
And only then will you learn about Dogley Afternoon. Who would you say is the coolest horror character of all time? I say it's Claude Rains in The Invisible Man.
Okay.
That's not me saying that.
Okay.
That was
right.
20th
I
century
think
refugee.
The coolest is Ash.
Oh yes.
Although, no, I think I'm going to stick with it. On the other hand, Ash isn't really cool. He thinks he's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to stick with it.
Really enjoyed your Michael Reeves documentary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brian. Is there another overlooked director?
You singing the Wombling song?
Yes. You would be interested in covering. Problem with underlooked directors is there tends to be a lack of information that makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah. We don't do very many directorial retrospectives. The next one that's on the radar, and this is probably, I say next one, we can't get the specials out as quickly as we would like. But one about Todd Browning is certainly on the radar, and it will be interesting. I don't think he's necessarily an overlooked director because people talk about Freaks and about Dracula and the Lon Chaney films, but there's a whole bunch of other films he made, and I think details about his life make him interesting.
Cool.
He was a carny.
Mad Maxine franchise is going to go off the rails.
We can't be out of questions.
No. Like, sometimes it just
freezes up.
We're
now so far behind, it's not showing us the questions.
Wow. Where are we at? Let me just did that one. Batman Returns, Iron Man 3, Spider-Man No Way Home are Christmas films.
Yeah, I suppose they are. Have I seen No Way Home?
Whoops.
This is just great entertainment right here. Watching Graham scrolling through a list of questions that were written a half an hour ago.
Sometimes they're not questions, they're sort of comments on other things.
They're mostly just comments, which makes it very difficult to find the questions.
Or I know you probably don't have an answer for it. So any takes on The Master of the Flying Guillotine?
You're more into those films than me.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, okay.
Not
really.
I'm so glad you reviewed Carnival Souls. Next, The Tingler. We kind of did a bit of The Tingler in the Vincent Price.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The problem with The Tingler is it is one of those. Well, it's certainly too good for a bad movie review, however silly it is, and whether or not it's worth covering for a
well, I guess we're
review.
more likely to do a William Castle retrospective at some point because there is definitely something there with like the whole gimmicks and everything.
Yeah, he's an interesting man.
We have not reviewed The Changeling. It'll be one for good films. Yeah, I think it's on Amazon. The Science Advisor and Mrs. Science Advisor are turning in for the night.
Good. I told them not to stay up too late.
We got Laura, that's very generous of you.
Wow, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And not even a question. Maybe ask a question. So
don't criticise someone who just gave us money.
The criticism.
It's really
like
rude.
how I wanted to give back.
Someone who has enjoyed listening to us ramble on vaguely for the last hour and a half.
Have you read David J. Scarl's biography on Todd Browning?
Yes.
I thought you probably had.
Yes, I used it. I wrote a play about Todd Browning that got cancelled because of COVID, and which I've never gone back to. I was thinking earlier today that I should. I have more time than I used to, and I used Scarl's biography. David Scarl is a fantastic writer about that era. There's a couple of books of his that I've got, and yeah, that's a really good one.
I'm going to assume this is you.
Dark Carnival, it's called.
Yeah, I'm going to assume this is you and not me. Just realised you look exactly like Al Yankovic.
He's got longer hair than me.
It's like completely. Maybe in the photo.
I really regret one. We always say that there are things we wish we'd kept track of from like early reviews, so that we could do sort of like but we don't know what's going to be referenced over and over again. The number of people I have been compared to over the years, I wish we'd kept track.
I remember Michael Bay.
Michael Bay is the only one I remember because I've really been offended by that.
English Linus Tech Tips. If you,
I know the
Linus Tech Tips is another really big channel. Another one like ours is. He's got a giant channel. Who else have people said?
There's been a whole bunch, and I don't remember any of them. John Carradine, I was compared to. I think that's just because we're both gaunt. I
think also Peter Cushing's come up for a similar reason. But also Christopher Lee, I believe I've heard.
I don't see Christopher Lee. Peter, I look like Peter. The thing is, I look like Peter Cushing after his wife died. He lost all that weight. Basically, what we're saying is it looks like there's something wrong with me.
Comment down below if you who you think Robin looks like.
How about we comment who Graham looks like?
It used to be Tony Slattery. That's the only. That's the only one I've had.
Is someone trying to get in your door?
Yeah, it's Ben.
Oh right, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Ben from well-known channel Boris FX. Based on Mark of the Vampire, do you think London After Midnight, if it was found, would be a great film?
No,
definitely not based on.
I think probably it's quite a below average film, as some of the other Chaney Browning collaborations are, but with a fantastic makeup. And the makeup is tremendously iconic, and I don't think it would have become that iconic if the film still survived. So maybe this is the best way.
I can't think of like another film of that era with such iconic makeup.
No, I suppose not. So, Phantom is the only one that comes close, probably.
Yeah, and even that, I mean, that vampire makeup that he has is really good.
Yeah,
really interesting.
And we mentioned the Babadook earlier, and that's completely inspired by.
And then I've just like thought, well, actually, no, we just take the other ones for granted. Like the Wolfman and Frankenstein are obviously iconic makeups from exactly the same era.
Well, so not exactly the same.
So that was a stupid comment.
5-10 years later. I mean, the Wolfman's 15 years later.
There's a lot of agreement that you look like John Carradine.
For the love of God.
And comment that at least you didn't look like Peter Cushing after he died. So
yeah, small mercies.
Yes. Man, we got to the end of the questions somehow.
I wonder how many we did. People just stop asking them.
I might have like skipped over a few in the oh, now they're coming in. Any video games series?
How many people are commenting on what I look like?
I asked them to.
You don't look like John Carradine. Thank you. Is that you see? That's the same person who gave us money. That's a person of discernment.
Dark Corners is very handsome. He looks like
Dark Corners.
He looks like an elven lord.
Oh,
it's funny when people sort of write that because.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
No, your name is in the credits, but you never say who you are.
Thank you. Xantara?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hey, somebody enjoyed the Tristan and Isolde review.
That's because they didn't have to watch the film. Top 10 silent movie special is one of my absolute favorite things on YouTube.
That's good. We haven't done one.
I was going to say that. Oh, no.
I'm guessing the Lost films.
The Lost films. Somebody was asking about, because we talked about doing a top 10 rediscovered films.
Yeah, it's still on the.
It's one of the many things we want.
I would really love to do that, but that requires so much research and time.
Would you
join us on Patreon if you'd like to?
Yeah, would you be interested in doing a video about the various versions of Jacob Marley's Ghost through film history? Like, it's a good idea.
You mean Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories, and I've watched a lot of versions of it. I'd wonder if that is specifically a reference to a silent version called Jake and Marley's Ghost, which is one of the earliest Dickens adaptations. Right. Was it a No, there was a Dickens thing rediscovered, but it wasn't that one. Yeah, I think that maybe for a future Christmas special, that would be a lovely one to do. I would really like that. But there are so many.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mad. It's one of the most adapted stories. But
the Ghost of Bob Marley.
It's like the Ghost of Bob Marley.
I think that was...
That's a joke. That is the reason that in the Muppet Christmas Carol, it's the two old men. So it's obviously Jacob Marley, which is the Dickens one. The other one is called Robert because it's Bob Marley. But that is, as far as I'm concerned, there are tied for first place in Christmas Carol stakes is the Alistair Sim one and the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes, as Zantara did mean the Lost film list.
Thank you very much. It's one of our favorites.
Yeah, it's really nice one. That one.
It's something different. It's something that nobody else had done. We really need to do more stuff like that. But gosh, it's hard to do and think of. Yeah,
and also the problem with him being Lost films is there's not really a lot of content to cut to.
I think we did a good job of finding pictures.
Yeah, we do in our archives of stuff. At some point, I'll get around to editing. We did do something for, what was it? The Dracula one.
Yes, Dracula's Death.
Dracula's Death. I'm just, it's there to do, and then I go, oh yeah, I should do that. Oh, it's not really Christmas anymore.
Thank you very much.
Dracula's Death, another Christmas film.
Yes, it is.
That's the first adaptation of.
Thank you, Karen Smith.
Of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Have you done a review of Uncle Peckerhead? We have not.
No. I got to admit, it doesn't sound like one we're going to get to.
Have we considered doing some bad TV series?
I mean, the problem is you've got to watch so much.
Yes,
it's time. It's time, and I think we're pretty comfortable in the film niche, to be honest. The only time we ventured into TV was the House of Usher review that we did,
or
TV series rather than
TV movie, like because the Hulk
TV
is
movies,
and a lot of the Marvel ones that we did were all TV movies.
Okay, so we've ventured into TV a lot,
but
not series. So much.
Not like sort of things.
I know you still want to do the
Animal.
Oh right, okay.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking you wanted to do the Alfred Hitchcock Hour of the Twilight.
Oh yes, I also wanted to do that.
Again, it's time.
What have we got? Hello, Dark Corners. Sorry, I'm late to the party. Well, you're here now, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
Got any more old Japanese ghost movies in the pipeline? I think at some point we were going to do. What's the one with 3 ghost stories in it?
Oh, Kwaidan.
Is that Kwaidan?
Yes. It's 4 ghost stories.
Right. Yeah. So that was one we've talked about wanting to do, and
I mean, I covered Kwaidan for the Patreon series that we're doing at the moment, but it's a tough one to do a special about. But I do feel like it probably would pay. It would be worth it from our point of view. I don't think it would do very well view-wise, if I'm honest.
This is a nice, heartwarming comment.
Half the comments would be telling me I'm pronouncing it wrong, by the way.
Hey guys, wanting to say, love the channel and the videos. My father introduced me to your channel and he's since passed, but I'm glad he showed me this channel because of its great love of films.
Oh, thank you.
Love of the reviews. So thank you very much, and very sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I'm delighted that we officially crossed generations. That's really nice to hear.
Yeah,
because I get so much from my grandfather in terms of the love of these films, and one of the reasons I always talk about my book collection is it was started by his books that I inherited, and I think these things do go. Love of old films is something that's passed on through families.
Yeah. Which do you think is the worst wrong turn film?
Wrong turn,
I guess you take a wrong turn and you're suddenly in some state in America that you don't want to be in.
The worst.
Wouldn't even know. Graham looks like Bob Mortimer. I can see that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Graham kind of looks like a young W.C. Fields if you look hard enough.
Okay, I got to tell you, I don't think that's a compliment, but
Robin looks like a young Ted Danson.
oh, now I can see that. That's really irritating.
With or without the toupee.
Is that about you with Bob Mortimer or me with Ted Danson?
Ted Danson, you know, he wears the toupee.
Yeah.
No, forever. Any movies you'd like to recommend that are now free on YouTube that were not available? Generally, if we find something like that, we'll try and get it onto streaming as quickly as possible. So
the one I think about, I mean, if you have on some account missed it, I think one of the best ones we found since we started doing the streaming was the Russian film V, which I really took to. That is on YouTube, I think, and V is spelt VIY. Yeah, and I really like doing the streaming series. I mean, it's sometimes difficult to get these things out, and I worry about trying to express everything I want to say without spoiling it and in quite a short time. But when we find these weird movies that maybe we hadn't heard of before and that we can introduce new people, and every now and then you'll get people in the comments saying, oh, you introduced me to this movie, and that comes through on Twitter a lot as well. I love that. That makes it all worthwhile. Yeah,
so I can mention when we started the streaming strand, it was the idea was like more recent films that were good but are available on streaming, and then it sort of evolved into here's a film that's been around for a while that you may not have come across. It
was sort of like the world of streaming. The great thing, I mean, people do rag on like Netflix and Amazon a lot, and I understand why, and there are big problems with them. On the other hand, if you search on Netflix, they have I think it's Netflix, it might be Amazon, I think it's Netflix, they have a cache of Danish silent films or Swedish silent films, I forget which now, and which is so improbable, but this means you can watch these films that are not available really anywhere else. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I'm choking.
None of them are horror films. Do you want a drink of cider? Sort of clear your throat?
I'm okay. Thoughts on Bill Murray's Scrooged? I remember going to see that.
That's great fun.
I remember going to see that at the cinema, and we went there to go see Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but it was totally sold out, so we saw Scrooged instead.
I like Scrooged.
Yeah.
As I say, I've named my best in that area, but I like Scrooge very much. I think that's a good version of the story. It gets it.
Would you like to be one of the critics Vincent Price gets his revenge on in Theatre of Blood?
Well, no, they all die in horrible ways.
This is an interesting one. I didn't even know these existed. Big time big time comic book collector here in my 50s. And I've just started picking up the old Hammer House of Horror magazines. That must be quite interesting.
Yeah, Father Shandor from Dracula, Prince of Darkness continued in those comics.
Series, doesn't he? Yeah,
which is great because he was a wonderful character. Andrew Keir knocked it out of the park.
One of the reviews I enjoyed was Strangler from the Swamp. Oh, that was a good.
Good. I'm glad about that.
Poverty Row one, like a proper low budget film that
they
showed that
really made the best of that a very limited set. Very limited set.
Oh, what country do you think has the most content yet to be discovered or translated?
Probably, I would say, what continent? Does it say country?
Country.
I think probably China, because I don't think they export as much. I expect there's a lot of interesting stuff that's just maybe unplayed to stereotypes, but I think probably there's some stuff that isn't allowed out or is suppressed in some way.
Yeah. Santara's coming again.
Thank you very much.
Donation.
Very generous. Thank you. Is there a question?
It's been hard love at recent family losses, but I can get back very much. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. That's really
no. I like occasionally we get these comments and of how people enjoying the videos have helped them through darker times and stuff, and it's surreal and heartwarming and like you don't because we just like
but these are just silly videos
and you don't know what affects it, what necessarily you're introducing people to and what that leads them on to do. Certainly we've had people get in contact where they want to start their own channel and advice for what they should do, and hopefully helped them get started doing it.
Yeah, and some of them have got very interesting channels of their own now.
Yeah, so it's a nice little thing to have. That we do.
It's nice to know it's more than just silly movie reviews.
Make an interesting effect on people, and it's especially where online you're so disconnected from the audience that we don't sort of see them personally. It's not like you're doing a stage show where you meet them afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's always always like super humbling to hear that sort of thing. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, see or skip? It's a while since I saw it.
I think see.
What do you think? So, do you know where the title "Kiss Kiss Bang Bang" originates?
Isn't it something to do with Bond?
That's what I think, because that was the original theme tune for Thunderball. Was like it was like Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and so they've obviously like that. Unless it's like a weird phrase somewhere else, I know that's where it's come from.
It's really, I mean, I don't know where it came from, but what it's come to mean is a certain genre of film, and it's sort of spoofing that to some extent. It's just a Shane Black film.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for what it is.
2015 Pixels, cool or cringe? I
seem to remember cringe. That's the Adam
that's
Sandler one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's definitely the consensus.
Not an Adam Sandler fan. I don't think Adam Sandler travels out of America.
No. But did you watch, what's the one that you got a lot of accolades for?
Punch Drunk Love.
No, that one I really liked. There was another one more recently on Netflix.
I probably didn't see it then.
Someone will say, and we'll pick it up in about 2 hours. But no, there was another one he did recently. Like occasionally he'll do these dramatic films where actually he's really good. Great channel. I've always thought you look like Christopher Lee's son.
That's me, I'm assuming.
Mrs. Science Advisor, what have you been doing? Did you like the two early 70s made-for-TV movies, Night Stalker and The Night Strangler?
I saw Kolchak. I'm assuming we were talking about the Kolchak films. The first one, I liked. I think because of how the genre's moved on and everything that's happened since, it hasn't aged brilliantly. It's not as surprising as it probably was when it came out. I think probably in a post-X-Files world, it's almost, you sort of know what you're going to get. But it was good enough.
Any chance, and this comes up in quite a few of these,
No.
of doing the Coffin Joe films? Well, I got a box set, and it turns out it was all in Spanish.
Yeah.
I believe there's another version coming out soon.
I'd be cagey about even that, to be honest.
So, yes, maybe, but not in the near future. Ranking the Return of the Living Dead films. I can rank the ones that I've seen.
Okay, you go ahead and do that.
Living Dead is the best.
Oh, was that it? You've just seen the one.
Caligari's Cabinet is my favorite silent film. Well, good news. Next year we will be doing a
special about the Cabinets of Dr. Caligari. I think that's the first time we've announced that.
Oh, exclusive
to everybody. I think we announced it to Patreon.
And that will be somewhat focused on a bit on Conrad Veidt as well, I think, with a possibly.
We were talking about doing a top 10 of Conrad Veidt as well afterwards.
Yes.
So whether or not we focus on him during that, I think, to be honest, in some ways it's more interesting to focus on Robert Wiener, because there are some. I would probably be amongst those who think that it's sort of an accidental masterpiece, because it is the only really good film that he made. He made some other decent ones, but.
Thank you for introducing me to Elementary, which Elementary, from when we did the streaming films, was like the perfect example of what we set out to do there, which was a modern film that was really good and interesting, but had not sort of broken through anywhere, and hopefully we introduced people to it.
Yeah,
so
I think we did.
Elementary, Blacksmith and the Girl, is that the full title?
Blacksmith and the Devil, I think.
Blacksmith and the Devil. So really good, very sort of Hammer-esque film.
Yeah, it's a great folk horror and based on I think a Spanish legend. Yeah. But anyway, it was really, we really liked that. We thought, oh great, if we can find more films like this, and we couldn't.
Yes, that was it. It's like, man.
So we fell back on classics.
Yeah. Have we reviewed Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires? Only sort of tangentially when we did the Hammer Dracula series.
Yeah.
It's one that we've toyed about going back to, as just doing it as a.
It's probably been long enough
as a
now.
comedy one, because it is.
It will obviously
bit
makes
mental.
a very brief, very very brief appearance in a Peter Cushing top 10 because it's not one of the 10.
Yes.
Spoilers.
A 16mm print of Strangler from the Swamp recently sold in an eBay auction.
Really?
Was the 2011's The Thing necessary? No. Uncut Gems. That was the Adam Sandler film.
Oh, right.
Are you a fan of Japanese horror? And if so, have you got any favorites in the area?
Yes.
I'd like to watch like more. I think that's.
Oh gosh, yeah. I was really hoping I'd find more of the sort of the period ghost stories that I could watch online when I was doing the Kurosawa thing this year, but I only found one, which was fine, but nothing special. But no, I think if I was to pick favorites, Kwaidan is a favorite. Kuroneko is a favorite, but really, I think the and I'm blathering because I forgot the bloody name.
Onibaba.
Yeah, Onibaba is, and I'm going to quote Mark Kermode here and say, well, Onibaba is one of the scariest films ever made. And I haven't seen as many horror films as he has, but I think it's a breathtakingly good horror film, if it's even a horror film.
So yeah, you can look at our reviews of
Onibaba and Kuroneko, directed the films of Kaneto Shindo.
Yes,
but that was back when we were still learning to do specials. I think to some extent those are just me gushing about how good these films are. But you know what? They really are.
Yeah.
For someone who only made 2 horror films, they're extraordinarily accomplished. Because especially Onibaba is not really a horror film. It's just a scary film.
How about reviewing The Name of the Game is Kill with Jack Lord, a bizarre murder mystery and a huge, almost deserted ghost town.
Sounds cool.
Sapphire and Steel reboots, yes or no?
Oh,
do you know what?
I'll tell you what the problem is there. That my immediate thought is yes, if they let me write it. It depends who writes it. I don't think that there is anything sacrilegious about that, because I would have wanted the series to continue anyway. And because of the nature of the show, you can reboot it without erasing what has gone before. There's sort of a Doctor Who thing there, that this bizarre premise. The only thing I would say, if they try to explain what any of it meant in terms of the opening voiceover, talking, what's the word? Transiragic is the word that doesn't exist, that is in that opening voiceover. If they try to explain why elements from the periodic table are helping people out, then, well, they're not elements, but you know what I mean. Then no, don't try to explain it. Just keep doing what it was doing. That's my fear, is that someone will try to explain what this was. That's again where the new Who lets me down a little bit, that they try to give too much backstory to what the Doctor is and so on, where that's not really helping.
Another favourite Christmas horror film, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, great, lovely. More of a Halloween film, really, but either way.
Yeah, I was recently went to Royal Albert Hall. The music of Tim Burton.
I remember you said
Danny Elfman, and Danny Elfman came out to do, because obviously he also sings some of the songs, so he sang some of the songs from Nightmare Before Christmas. But then when they were playing the other bits, he just sat there on the stage, eyes closed, big smile on his face, just enjoying his music.
Really? He didn't conduct?
No, he's not a conductor.
Oh, is he not?
No.
I would just assume. I think someone might have given us money.
Oh, no, that's still the same $50 from Laura.
Sorry, it just popped up there.
No. Oh, it's one disappeared.
He's a great composer. I think he sometimes gets pigeonholed as being limited, but
yeah,
I think he's done more than people think. He's not just Tim Burton's go-to guy.
No, he's the person who wrote the Simpsons theme tune.
Yes. I saw him interviewed or read an interview that he'd done, and he said he's afraid that when he dies, that's all it's going to be. The sort of the Simpsons theme tune guy dies.
But from what I say, he didn't Tim Burton got him to do film scores. He wasn't really interested in it. And Tim Burton convinced him to do it for
what was he sort of a
Big Adventure? Just he was in a band. Musician, and I think that's why he's not a composer. But I also saw something else that he I don't know if it was a symphony thing, but a percussion musical piece that he had written. And again, he didn't conduct it, but he came on at the end to sort of like take the bow. So I just don't think he's necessarily a conductor.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
But
no, he's a very fine composer.
Yeah. Do you plan on doing Van Helsing family tree like we did with the Frankenstein one? I don't think there's not as many as descendants, and certainly when there are, they're not as clearly defined. Like I guess there was one in Daughter of Darkness. He claimed to be like
but that's not good.
But that's sort of the extent of a descendant.
I think you get lots of people who playing Van Helsing in different ways, but you don't get the same sort of like. There are so many sons and grandsons and granddaughters of Frankenstein. You don't get that with Van Helsing in the same way.
Ooh, would we do a review of Ralph Bakshi's Fire and Ice?
Possibly.
Or Star Chaser, The Legend of Orin. Now we have done that. That's not Ralph Bakshi, is it?
No.
Oh, good. All right. But we have done that. The Coffin Joe box set is in Portuguese.
Oh, okay.
And someone said, your opinion of Zombievers, probably a better title than a film would be my guess.
It's Zombievers.
So let's talk about doing a brand new Karate Kid film.
Okay.
I don't know what the continuity of it is because it's going to have Jackie Chan in it and Ralph Macchio is what I've heard. So I don't know if it's going to be ignoring the continuity of Cobra Kai.
You can't ignore that if Ralph Macchio's in it, surely.
But that seems to be what they do. The amount of look at the Halloween films that have ignored it.
Yeah, it's true.
They just reboot it and bring back Jamie Lee Curtis. Favorite classic Twilight Zone episode? Oh God,
I don't really know any of them.
The one where the guy, mainly because it's spoofed in Futurama, where he's
the
he's
guy
got all the time to read the books,
and his eyes fall out.
I can still read the Big Print books.
Cursed by his own hubris.
Well, we are. Oh my God, we're gonna call it soon. Favorite romantic film.
Favorite romantic film. Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans.
Thoughts on Nicolas Cage's Dream Scenario? I really enjoyed it, and then it takes like a weird turn at the end. Like I enjoyed it.
Comes under the list of films I really wanted to see that were out recently, but I've been crazy busy.
I'm not sure that it stuck the landing.
That's a shame.
But I like these weird films. Also, just recently saw Saltburn, which I really enjoyed.
Is it one dark corner we can do for streaming when it hits?
Yeah. It's
watch out for our review of Saltburn.
It's not really horror, but it's.
And we don't just. I mean, streaming has certainly encompassed more than horror.
It really threw me out because Mark Kermode talked about it as being like a vampire film, and even seeing it, I don't see that.
I don't remember him saying that. I have heard his review. I know that Simon Mayer didn't like it much. Oh no, he did say that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And so I think I missed the bit where it was like a vampire film. So I was watching the film for quite a while, wondering when it was going to be revealed that the characters were vampires.
I don't think he meant literally.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
trust me. But he does say that in the review. I just sort of misheard it because I think I was only sort of tangentially listening to it. If I know I'm going to see a film, I try not to listen to reviews. Answers make us a cool episodes. Other guys, favorite horror film of all time.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to answer that too. don't know. I find it really difficult to talk about favorite films because it changes.
So do I, but I find the
bet-
best thing you can do is when you start doing live streams 5 years ago, is to latch on to something that you really like and just keep repeating it for the next 5 years. There's no such, I mean, yeah, why not? That one.
Yeah.
I love it, so why not? I feel like that's a film I will still love in 10, 20 years.
Right.
And I think that's, and I've loved it ever since I saw it.
I didn't so about Halloween Ends wasn't so good. I actually didn't mind Halloween Ends. I thought it was better than whatever the middle one was.
Right.
What were the last 3 Halloween films?
Halloween
Kills.
Halloween Kills was the middle one, wasn't it?
Right, that was the worst one. And then Halloween Ends was kind of interesting because it took a different.
Well, the thing about Halloween Ends is that the title's just a lie to start with.
Yeah.
There's no way Halloween ends.
Yeah. Possibly do a Romero special at some point.
Maybe.
That's certainly something.
We've talked for over a decade now, probably, about a zombie chronology, of zombie films.
Yeah, especially sort of like just the changing nature of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so many questions. Where do you go to find box sets using your reviews? Amazon,
there we go.
Basically, or eBay, and I'll see whichever one's cheapest. I have The Beholder or Walking Distance. I don't know what that was referring to. Beware the Blob, yay or nay?
We're not going to review it if that's the question.
The Tenant, 1976. Any thoughts?
No, I haven't seen it.
I started watching you a couple of months ago. Thanks for getting me into the Hammer films. I got the box sets, which I've been working through them. Cool.
Oh, brilliant.
It's quite exciting time because like some of there's like proper sort of cleanup jobs being done on the films done and good special features. And it's kind of almost like kind of a shame that the icons seem to mostly have passed now.
Yeah.
And so all we've got is archive stuff of them all, because it would be fascinating to get a Peter Cushing's take on these things.
Yeah. A lot of the ladies of Hammer are still alive because they were so much younger than the men they were playing against. So Madeline Smith is worth following on Twitter.
Do you know anything about the Anno Dracula series by Kim Newman?
I keep meaning to read that. I'd really like to, because I do like Kim Newman, and there is no one whose opinion, whose knowledge of horror I respect more. I've been lucky enough to see him introduce a film at for the Gothic Film Society, and just the speed with which he makes connections, with which he talks about horror, with the breadth of knowledge is extraordinary, really.
What music do you listen to?
I listen to a certain diversity. I've sort of built up a happy playlist for myself, and it turns out that's mostly indie rock. Sort of somehow I got into like a little tunnel of I like when you sort of like leave from one band to another, and I went from REM to the -5 to the Baseball Project, which is mostly Peter Buck from REM and Scott McCoy from the Young Fresh Fellows, and I found that what they write is just very listenable pop music, and it's lovely to have on. The Baseball Project only does songs about baseball, but they're fun tunes.
I've got notoriously terrible taste in music, but I do listen to just film scores a lot, but generally John Williams. Definitely one of the best things I did was to see John Williams conducting live. So I'm glad I got to do that before he died.
There is a sense of while you can, isn't there? I feel that I saw Spike Milligan and Leslie Phillips performing live in things, and you were just sort of like, I'm glad I checked that.
It was kind of it was very cool because it was like oh yeah, like this is like the guy's music who like he wrote like the soundtrack for our childhood.
It is the thing. It's sometimes hard to appreciate that when you are seeing that man there. He wrote the theme of Star Wars right there. There he is in that head that originated,
conducting it.
And that's special.
And also just like how bloody humble he is. Like he seems to just like go, I didn't really think that people would like my music. I mean, really, it's everybody else is brilliant. I mean,
he's always been very cool about people playing it. He's never been prissy about the copyright or anything.
No, that's one of
he's been very
one
cool
of the
about
interesting
it.
things he did was like when Star Wars came out, and obviously Star Wars blew up, and the album did really well. But he also went in and he sort of structured that album to sort of tell that story a bit more clearly, and would write extra music to wrap the songs off, so it's not just as it is in the film. Like he would rewrite it and re-record it, so you've got a beginning and an end to a track. And there's like Princess Leia's theme, which everyone knows really well, but is barely in the film, but is so much a part of the score. And then when he found out that basically people would listen to that and then like transcribe what they thought the music was and were performing it, he went, no, that's ridiculous. And he went in and he wrote different levels of like, right, here's the version for a 70-piece orchestra, here's the version for a school band, and he wrote like different versions, and he just sold the music rather than the performance, right? So he only had, like, he
made it accessible.
Yeah.
And others could learn from that, Disney.
It. Yeah. And he still goes back, and occasionally he'll tweak stuff. So whenever they do like the live you watch the film of a live score, he will work with the guy who's putting it together, and they go, well, people are there to also hear the music, so maybe we can add a little bit more music. And you go, oh yeah, and he'll compose a little bit extra for it, and he'll compose like to take you into the intermission and bring you back in, just like little bits like that.
He's a composer, and he likes doing it, and I just really admire his whole ethic.
Yeah,
and of the way he approaches this stuff.
An interesting one he did was with the Han and Leia love theme from Empire Strikes Back. At some point before the new films came out, he just rewrote the ending to bring it to a close, because it's kind of an open-ended piece. Right. They just sort of wrote so the romance resolves in the track. So he's just a super nice guy. And you can't find, like we say about Peter Cushing, no one has a bad thing to say about Peter Cushing, and nobody has a bad word to say about John Williams. So yes, right. We're gonna call it in 4 minutes. Do we have any current horror icons? I say other than Mia Goth.
Connery or Moore?
Connery.
Connery for Bond, Moore to have a drink with, or to spend any time with whatsoever, really.
Elon Roth's Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving. I haven't seen Thanksgiving. I wasn't that fussed about.
I don't like Eli Roth.
I was interested in the prospects of what putting someone alive in an oven would be like, but I felt they had to pull back from that. Thoughts on horror services like Shudder? We've used.
They've got some great stuff on there,
but they've also got a lot of junk on.
Well, yeah, it's like all streaming services. You've got to wade through so much shit.
I think it serves a purpose in giving. There's like, if you go on Tubi, there's just utter garbage, and I think maybe Shudder feels slightly more curated. So, and that's a good thing. And if filmmakers can get a bit more money, then that's good. I don't know if that's the case though. Do you attend conventions? No,
but if they really should.
Us and pay for our way and our accommodation. Peeping Tom, very first slasher ever? ?
I mean, if there's a clear definition of a slasher film, I mean, obviously you could go back to Hitchcock's The Lodger, but or indeed further than that. I think probably not, but maybe it's the first modern slasher alongside Psycho, obviously. I'm not quite sure which one came out first. The fact that you're asking the question makes me assume that Peeping Tom came out before Psycho.
I think it's really just...
They're both 1960s, so it must be, there can't be much in it. I think they probably kickstart what we think of as slashers.
Yeah.
But there are films in which people are slashed prior.
We did talk about doing a Peeping Tom special, because again, it's kind of...
I bought the wrong... I bought Michael Powell's
Yes, yes.
autobiography, only to find that he stops before Peeping Tom. That was not a waste of money. I mean, when I get around to reading it, I'm sure it will still be a very good book.
What's the worst film you've reviewed? Monster Go-Go, probably. Godzilla -1, I'm booked to see it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I've heard good things. I don't think we've reviewed many Stephen King films. No,
just
the one that he directed.
Yeah. What the hell was that called?
It
Maximum Overdrive.
And we also did one on streaming where the woman's chained to the bed.
Yes. I can't remember what it's called now. Gosh, that feels like a million years ago. About 2 years ago.
So, do you think Hitchcock's Frenzy is underrated?
I don't think it's underrated. I think people rate it. I don't think it deserves to be right up there with his best films. Hitchcock has so many. There's like great films, and then Hitchcock has another level above that. I think that Frenzy is a really, really good film. I think most people rate it as a really, really good film. I don't think it deserves to be any higher rated than that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. It is midnight for us. So although there's still questions coming in, we're going to call it.
Sorry.
Because we got to shoot.
2 hours is all you get. We've got a really long day tomorrow. And then I've got to take a 2.5 hour coach drive back to home.
So, yeah. So thank you very much again for all your support.
Thank you.
It means loads of really nice comments and fascinating questions tonight.
Yeah, it's nice just chatting about film with people. It really, really is. We would do this for longer if only our American audience, which is most of you, was awake earlier in the day or not at work earlier in the day, I should say.
If only our American audience was all unemployed.
Or British.
So thank you very much, guys. It's been a real pleasure. We'll probably try and do this again in January.
Yeah.
So have a great Christmas, great New Year.
Have a great Christmas.
Love to your family and all of that jazz.
Good night.
Good night.
Click N.